Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the caffeine. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. Must shit to shit, set a feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the caffeine. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. Must shit to shit, set a feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive.
Good morning, everybody. I feel like I don't know what's going on as usual. Oh, there we go. Can you see me? Can you hear me? And all the things that we like to have a successful stream. Hopefully you guys can hear me and see. Well, my avatar anyway. Let me check something here. Get this closed. Okay. Whoops. Phone's turned up. Okay. So, yeah, you guys can hear me and see me, I guess. All right. Good morning to you guys. Welcome in, Dolphin, Carrie, Rachel, Butterfly, Sarah. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. We're going to get to some true crime updates here and unpack a few things. Some crazy stuff is happening out there on these in these cases. My God. Messy situations are everywhere. I'm just trying to avoid them. I'm assuming you guys can hear me. You're saying hi to each other, but let me know in the chat if y'all can actually hear me, because you don't ever know this swamp signal going on over here. Okay, I typed it in chat. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know, guys, because I just feel like I'm talking to air and I need to know if I'm not. Good deal. Thank you for letting me know. Our swamp signal seems to be trucking right along. They still haven't come out and hooked me up yet, so whatever. All I can do is whatever it. It's how I live my life. I get to choose what stresses me out. It's really up to me in the end. So this is not a stress for me. It's just aggravation. But it seems to be running okay, so we're just going to roll with it. Because I wake up every day and find some reason to have gratitude. I don't care what's going on in the day or in my life. I'm going to find one little reason to have some gratitude, and then I'm going to say it out loud. Yeah. So cool. We can hear and we can see. We should be able, we don't have, but maybe, well, we do have one clip we're going to watch, and we should be able to do that just fine. So far, we've been okay the last few days. So we'll get to that. Wow. So this Summer Wells situation, I knew that I had seen enough to know that was a messy situation. As far as, do I call it social media's interactions? I don't know what to call it anymore without pissing somebody off. So you got your mainstream media, your legacy media, your social media people. Social media, lately, mainstream media is just running amok and doing whatever the hell they want, saying whatever they want. And then it feels like every conversation you go to, it's conversations around drama. And that fucked me up in the Sebastian Rogers case. I didn't participate in any of that, even though recently someone tried to think that I was, got me confused with somebody else, and I had to correct the record. But so I've stayed away from that Summer Wells stuff. The drama part of it, I didn't want to know the players. I didn't want to know the people. I didn't want to know nothing about none of them. Well, then we got this Fred Hill stuff and how he married a YouTuber. That's my first red flag and my last. I'm not going to be that person who needs 50 waved before I go, oh. So we all know there's some back and forth between, well, maybe y'all don't. So Jason Jensen, the PI who's out there running his mouth on the Facebook, dropping breadcrumbs here and yonder, people are coming at him now. And this person who came at him, I guess, is somehow, they reminded me when I was reviewing this stuff last night or yesterday evening. I'm thinking to myself, we got us a whole bunch of WSU Mom Kims sitting right here. We got, what, 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, I see y'all. So I'm out again. So apparently that Ziggy chick that married the Fred Hill guy went on her show and put up some email where, Fred was cleared. Now everybody's like, nope, that's not even a real email. That was fake. This YouTuber had it first. This YouTuber called the jail. I need the YouTubers to be quiet for a moment. Until an official word comes down from a police department, I won't be covering it here on this channel. I really don't want to waste my brain cells sitting up here for an hour talking about Fred Hill. I don't know that guy. I don't know that old girl Ziggy. I don't want to know the train wreck. So I couldn't tell y'all if that email's real or not, where it originated from. I know if you call a county jail and talk to a lady on the phone, she probably don't really know what the hell you're talking about. I had never heard that lady say, hold on, let me go ask him, did he send somebody an email clearing Fred Hill? The lady just said, no, I think that's fake news. So I'm going to leave it at fake news. I don't fucking know what's going on over there. All I know is some property got searched again recently. Not again, but a property got searched. And we all know now, because YouTube's made sure we know who the property is owned by, and he's related to this Fred Hill person. So whoever did something to Summer Wells, I hope law enforcement catches up to you real fast. Like today would be great. Same thing in the Sebastian Rogers case, and every single messy ass person who decided to hijack these cases and make it about them. And then we're all going to go spend 4, 5, 6 hours talking about them, while they, whoever they may be, may have Summer, just like the person who may have Sebastian's laughing at the mockery being made of these child cases, because them fucking idiots ain't looking for no baby. They're looking for each other. None of y'all's been arrested. I've not seen an affidavit out there for any of these people. So I think they probably just like their 5 minutes of fame, and I'm not about to give them their 5 minutes on the back of a missing child. You kiss my ass. So we're going to move on and let the law handle the Summer Wells situation. Because if I stay on that case, I'm probably going to piss off every person who's ever covered the case. in a shady way, because they'll take it as that shade's being thrown at them. Well, hey, if the shoe fits, wear it well. That's all we can say. It's just too much. It's too much, and I can't. If it was an adult case, whatever, have at it, messy ass people. But we're talking about children who go missing into thin air, poof, gone. That's a lot for us to wrap our heads around as humans. I don't care if you got a kid or not. If you have an ounce of human in you and you have an ounce of empathy, which is normal, by the way, you don't have to be an empath to feel empathy for something or someone. That's a natural feeling that you should have that makes you human. It's not a special gift. Can we stop with all that? I got a special gift. I'm an empath. Honey, that's a long, hard walk. And unless you learn to set your boundaries, you're going to get walked on your entire life. But you go ahead and scream how much you're an empath. Let's do that today. Let's not educate on what a real empath is. Okay. So we're going to leave Summer Wells alone here until we see something coming down, some sort of results that were yielded from that search warrant. I don't know what they were even out there looking for. They're being all tight-lipped because they get the right to do that. They get to come out and say, we're cops. Y'all don't know what we're doing. We can't tell you more than what we've told you. And you just got to be dealing with that. We're going to be like, okay today. All right. Speaking of which, Lordy, how mercy help us all with this Celeste Rivas case. And are these PIs really, are they just out there trying to promote their own selves and their business? Or are they really trying to help pro bono style? I'm going to run into town for about an hour. I'm going to do a search. I'm going to talk to a couple of people. And then I'm going to go make a nice little tweet for social media and tell them about all this stuff I've done. Maybe I'll get some new clients from that. I don't know what to think about this anymore. We got reporters with sources, quote unquote, who aren't having to divulge their sources. They're just like, I got a source and they're telling me this and they're telling me that. Now let me run onto my big polished TV channel, which was born out of the National Enquirer type phase back in the paparazzi era of the 1980s. TMZ got born. And if you didn't know what TMZ was back in the day, it was a piece of shit mag. Celebrity gossip. They followed them celebrities around everywhere they went, trying to catch a peek at them doing something stupid today, so I can put it in a magazine and garner $10,000 for an image of them doing said stupid thing. So over the years, Harvey tried to develop it into more of a mainstream, we have ethics kind of thing. I don't really know. But man, we all know he's come out and said a lot and done a lot and reported a lot. With this case particularly, it seemed like every time we turned around, TMZ had new information. How accurate's your information over there, Harvey? Because the minute you went talking about frozen bodies, I'm like, wait. How long was this child kept in a deep freeze? Don't tell me she got shoved in the kitchen drawer freezer for a few days and then was put in the front and left there for days. All that stuff. I need to know a little more about this frozen situation. Well, the LAPD's come out now and said that's not even accurate. Well, we wouldn't know because y'all haven't come out and said a damn thing. Not even person of interest. Which was y'all scared he was going to bolt if you came out and publicly said he's a public of interest? Now think about that. You've got this popular social media singer. I'm not going to call him a radio hit because I don't even know if the guy got played on the damn radio. Do kids listen to radio? No, they listen to this shit on their phones and whatever. So here he is, Big old popular, guy getting ready to go on tour. Are y'all scared he's gonna bolt because you name him a public person of interest? I'm pretty sure there's thousands of eyes on him, and if he goes to run, somebody will run after him. I'm sure Steve Fisher will be right behind him. Wait up a minute, David, with a 4. Hold on, number 4. Wait for me. I can't. I just can't with this shit anymore. So I got an article I want to read to you guys first because we know that a while back. Hold on one second. All right, so we know after she was found, the reports that began to come out about the dismemberment and things being found in bags. So go back to those early reports compared to what we're hearing right now. Because honestly, I don't care if she was frozen or not. I care if you're out here being messy and telling lies that you damn well know aren't true because you're out for the next click. We got to call it what it is sometimes. Sometimes it's not just out for clicks, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a money grab, sometimes it's legitimately not. This feels like it is I need the clicks quicker than the guy next door does. Because now we got Fisher coming out and saying, what you're reporting is flat out bullshit. And then we got the cops over here telling People Magazine that's flat out bullshit. Harvey, I don't know, but your source may have lied. Or the cops are lying. And I don't know why the coroner and the cops are being like at odds with one another. Isn't that the oddest thing? Like, what's going on there? Why is it like given the Brian Koberger vibes? It's all a big secret. Why? We're not new to crime in America. We understand people do horrific things to people. We've read it in court documents. I'm not going to be shocked. I'm going to be shocked if y'all let this shit go and y'all don't arrest nobody and you play like we're stupid. That's the kind of stuff that irritates me and gets me going. Like, that's the kind of stuff we can't stand. Let me pull up this article because it was from the beginning. Let me see. I'll get the date that it was published too. Who was it? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Torso and head in a bag in the trunk was the headline. And it was a report from KTLA 5 out of LA. Let me get this up on the screen. Okay. Lord, get out of here. So this was updated September 17th, 2025. Disturbing new details. Oops. In the grisly case of dismembered remains of 15-year-old girl found in the trunk of an abandoned Tesla earlier this month may provide investigators with additional links to a popular R&B singer with millions of fans and followers. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner on Wednesday confirmed the 15-year-old was Celeste Rivas. Okay. The teen was reported missing from Lake Elsinore in April 2024, according to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. Well, we all know the backstory on that, most of us. Investigators said that she had run away from home on at least one previous occasion. Rivas remains, described by authorities as a head and torso, found inside a bag, were discovered in the trunk of a Tesla impounded at the Hollywood Tow on September 8th. The vehicle at the tow yard had been there about 5 days. Now think about it for a moment. We got Thanksgiving, what, in just a couple days? Y'all got that turkey thawed? How frozen was it? How long did it take to thaw out that damn turkey? How long does it take to thaw out a person who's been in a deep freeze for we don't even know how long? Since the spring, possibly? Is this true? If a body had been in a deep freeze state for many, many months, how long would it take it to thaw in the summer I get they don't got the same humidity out there in LA that I got way over here in Florida. Whoa, it wouldn't have lasted out here long at all. It would have been bad. So if you got this body in a frunk for 5 days at the impound yard, didn't we hear reports that a foul stench caused them to even be alerted something was wrong with that car? So if we got a frozen body beginning to thaw out, would we have had a stench in the air? Something's not adding up, guys. Police responded around 12:30 only after an employee reported a foul stench coming from the vehicle, which had been parked on the roof of the yard's parking structure. So it's on the roof up there closest to the sun. On top of that. Wow. What do you guys think in the chat? Honestly, do you think that is there any validity behind that, what TMZ's reported? What do you think that that's a possibility? I think it could be a possibility, but when you give how long that car sat in the neighborhood and got moved around, and according to Steve Fisher, we know who moved the car. Was it the same person who took that late night Santa Barbara ride? And what date again was that? I want those details. I don't give a F about so much of the fluff. I don't give a crap about his damn lyrics and all this shit. That brings back Tipper Gore nightmares I don't even want to get into. Give me the deets, man. We got Garrigo saying you got triangulation from the phone data. That's our jams over here, man. Don't want the drama. I don't want the gossip and the weird photos and lyrics. I want the fucking triangulation report. So, I don't think we're going to get it anytime soon, because apparently now the LAPD has asked the judge to slap a security hold on any and all documents, especially coming out of the coroner's office. We got a report on that as well. And apparently the coroner's like, what are you doing? This is not routine. We're all about transparency over here at the coroner's office. So why aren't the police? They're over there treating David as if he's and it shouldn't even happen then. But you acting like you got a multi-billion-dollar international celebrity on your hands, which is sick if you think about it, because we know y'all will go to all ends in a lot of cases to protect those dumbass celebrities once they start getting their shit lost. It's weird. Get themselves one of them high-polished, high-profile LA attorneys. I know there's one out there. He lives pretty large on the internet. He just won a big case. He's got another one he's trying to win now that I'm not so sure he's going to win. I don't think David's got enough money for all that, though. He ain't got enough money for Alan Jackson. Right, Dolphin. That would have been if that body had been frozen when they towed it. There wasn't a stench, right? We know that because even if it wasn't frozen, no one reported a foul smell when they towed the car. Remember, they came first, and what do they use, that device where they mark it where it was parked or whatever and gave like a citation? That person didn't notice a smell coming from that car. And then when they go back again and they end up towing the car, nobody smelled anything. So it sat there for days on the impound yard. Could it have been frozen, but then thawing while sitting in the 5 days? Then that tells you she was just put in that car. Because I'm not ruling out the possibility she was frozen, because it makes sense to me that they would do that. Why not if you're panicking and don't know what to do? we've heard it done 1,000 times. The Kansas City moms, bless their hearts, were put in damn deep freezes and buried for safekeeping, so nobody could find them. Well, they found them. Hell, I've seen stories where you lift the deep freeze into the homes, and there's the parts all nice and neatly wrapped like meat. It's disgusting. So that's where I'm stuck at, Dolphin, is right there, because I don't. If it's there's a good possibility it was frozen if nobody was smelling anything. And it took a minute for that to start to happen. 5 days of sitting in the impound yard. Did nobody go to the roof frequently? Was there just, it's a fucking junkyard. So do we wander up there a lot? I know around here, boys go to these yards. They might be going to pull a part off a car or a body part off a car, and they'll walk those yards. But the people who own those yards know where the cars are sitting, or up here in that area, or whatever. My son's a car guy, so I kind of know about that stuff. But 5 days before anybody noticed a smell. So let's see this article with People magazine where the cops are denying that even happened. Now, why would you deny, or why would you? Okay, well, I get why they want to keep some things close to the chest. We get it. Only the killer knows what they did. We can only guess. Yeah, she was in the front trunk, whatever y'all want to call it. I don't have a Tesla, and I never will. Elon's lucky I even visit his little bird app occasionally, but I don't. It's just where I come from. It's just a trunk. It's the thing yeah, the thing in the car that opens where you put stuff. Yeah, in the front of the car. So where's all this video camera from the car? Where's all this cell phone data triangulation Garagos was talking about that we watched yesterday? Where he says that the phone data matches up with like social media posts and things from David, saying the pinpoint location, right? It's like they know what date he was there, they know how long he was there. Are you going to sit here and make me believe you didn't know exactly where the boy went? And I called him a boy, yes. You know exactly where he went to in Santa Barbara, and you know exactly how long he sat there. So we have to always go back to, why can't they arrest somebody? And if you've listened to Joseph Scott Morgan discuss this case in particular, and I started listening to him, gosh, when the reports come out about the dismemberment, right? Because if you follow true crime long enough, you know there's going to be cut marks on a bone. If it disintegrates and falls apart from the joints and stuff like that because it's decomp, whatever, they can tell. If it was literally cut, they can tell. And Joe Scott even said that freezing that body would be so much better for the coroner to make certain determinations. So then I'm like, well, damn, now I'm confused even more. Do we really need the actual cause of death? We're out here convicting murderers without a body. Well, I know that one time in Idaho. It has been done before in other cases, but we know for sure that one time in Idaho. But do we need to know how exactly the person died? Well, we had to know I don't think we'll ever really know in the Karen Reed case, but how John O'Keefe died was so important to the outcome of that case, right? Because it absolutely mattered. In this case, does that really matter as much as who did it? Toxicology reports can say, drugs or alcohol, OD, whatever. I don't know. So I don't know how much better it would have been for the coroner to make certain determinations with a frozen, thawing body, because they get these bodies, guys. What do they do to them? They freeze them. And then they thaw them. So it's not like that was new to the coroner, right? So it's a little it's like, do we have some political bullshit going down between the coroner and the sheriff's department? I can't help but think that in the back of my mind as well. I mean, fuck, I'm in true crime. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot. We know these coroners and can go at it with some of these people. And they'll turn around and blame the coroner for this or that. And they're like, no, it's not me. It's funding, different things. I'll tell you, after what I've seen in the past month out of law enforcement, investigators, private investigators, YouTubers, content creators, social media, mainstream media, legacy media, whatever, just people. Man, it's been a lot. And I'm so like, wow, what kind of alternate universe have I been thrown into? Um, so this is from, I think this was last night. Yeah, the 24th. People Magazine, I guess, talked with local sheriff's department there, or LAPD, somebody from the LAPD. Lord, because I was around back in the day when they were so corrupt. And that is just not my theory or me saying it. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw with my own eyes, national television, what was happening in the streets of Los Angeles. And it was very ugly. And the LAPD was just riddled with corruption. It's all out there. Documentaries have been made on it, and that's why people have such a hard time with this department, because the people who know fucking know. Okay. Celeste Rivas was 14 when she was killed and was subsequently discovered dead inside of we'll call it the frunk of a Tesla belonging to singer David with a 4. Stupid ass. Celeste Hernandez was 14. Okay, we know that when she was killed. Well, do we really know that? We don't even know when this poor baby died. Y'all are now saying spring. People's best guesstimate would be spring, because y'all ain't told us shit. Y'all didn't even know if she was still missing or not. We had to figure that out on our own. LAPD captain and commanding officer of Robbery Homicide Division, Scott Williams. Okay, Scott, you got a phone number? Tells people exclusively that Rivas Hernandez was not decapitated and her body parts were not frozen. Because not only was she decapitated and the limbs removed, we heard, then the limbs themselves were cut up. And then Steve over there reporting bizarre things, farm equipment left in the home that was ordered from Amazon that shouldn't be in a home in the Hollywood Hills. Well, like a cattle prod? What the hell are you talking about, Steve? You cannot come out here and say that kind of stuff to true crimers and just walk away. Jesus Christ almighty. Oh, y'all. Okay. Celeste's body was not frozen, he says, and she was not decapitated. The whole frozen thing doesn't even make sense, he said. Celeste was 14 when she was killed and subsequently discovered dead inside the frunk. And that was like the end of this. LAPD captain and commanding officer of the homicide division tells people exclusively that she was not frozen. Exclusively. How about do this exclusively? Can we hold a fucking press conference and tell all the people at the same exact time so none of these people continue to feel special? I said it out loud because there ain't none of us special. You can tell me whatever the hell you telling people. I'll hashtag it and try to make sure everybody finds out. It's weird. Wood chipper. It's kind of like the hog pen. It's everybody's go-to. I got dressed today, Dolphin. I thought I'd share. I didn't decide to stay in my robe and gown all day because it was super comfy. I was like, my aunt that I helped care for until she passed a year and a half ago, we would go outside and sit, and I just love being outside. But when I take her outside and she'd sit there, and you could just look at her face and just see the joy just from being outside. In the morning, she'd get up, she'd start getting ready for her day, and I'd say, well, we're not going nowhere today. And she looked at me and she said, just be ready. Just be ready, just in case, right? I'm like, damn it. Now I got to be ready just in case. That requires getting dressed in case a phone call comes and I got to bolt real quick. Words of wisdom from your wise old aunts, just be ready. And now every day I feel like I live my life just being ready. But I'm going to be out there enjoying that damn nature here in a little while. Now that I got my back porch spot cleaned up and good to go and made it me. Well, you have fun at the gym, ma'am. I'll be there in spirit. I've been doing a lot of my stretching exercises again because my back's been a little doing its thing. So I'm like, no, you're not today. We're not doing that. We're not getting old and decrepit. Got to fix it. So I've been trying to get back into my routine, but I'm not a gym person. Then he goes on to say that it doesn't make any sense. Her body was in the car for weeks. Now, we do know that September 8th was the day that it was towed, or no, the 8th is the day they discovered her in the trunk or frunk after 5 days of the impound yard. I got to go back to our old notes and figure out what day it got towed, which was going to be 5 days prior, obviously. But there was a couple of days it sat out there in the park or in the community on the street, remember? For those, and got moved around. Oh, you're going to that sauna. I moved too far from that one place that I liked in town, or my old town, next door to where I'm at now. They had a beautiful setup in there, and their infrared sauna was amazing. He goes on to say, even if she had been frozen solid when she was put in the car, which there was no evidence to suggest that she was, he says, 5 or more weeks in the trunk of a car in sweltering heat in the middle of summer would not have resulted in a partially frozen body being discovered on the 8th. 5 weeks, he says, in the frunk. This is true. It's not going to take it 5 weeks to thaw out. But how do we know that she was not just placed in the frunk right before the car began to get moved and noticed? Where'd that car been before it got noticed, abandoned? Do they gonna sit here and tell me they don't have a record of that? That they didn't think about that themselves? Prior to this car being abandoned in a Hollywood Hills neighborhood, which was stupid, but whatever, where was it at? We know it went to Santa Barbara once. Where else did it go? Who all drove that car during that time frame? Multiple people. I mean, there's so much that we don't know still. And it's like, what do y'all do? Y'all really got 5 suspects, but you don't know for sure which one actually committed the crime. How about you got 5 co-defendants now? And once you make an arrest and you pounce, one of them little fuckers is going to get squirrely because prison's going to look big, bad, and scary. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to turn state's evidence against their little friend over there, who's also crying and begging for a way out. You think David with a 4 is going to last in prison? He ain't that kind of a thug. He's a little R&B boy, all polished and pretty. Bubba's got something. Bubba's probably trolling down there 3 hours away from me, stuff on Stern's heels. They got him in solitaire still, so fudge. I gotta be careful wishing bad karma onto people because she's weird. She's a weird one. All right, so that the LAPD is coming out and giving a statement to a news magazine. Well, is People Magazine a news magazine? They're about people in LA and celebrities and such. I remember people from back in the day. People's Person of the Year. That's the Person of the Year. They made a movie. Okay. Anyway, that kind of shit. So they're going, that's aggravating. Come out and give a press conference. If you're willing to go out and give statements to a news article, to get it out there to the public, why not come out and do the victim a solid and correct the record and give the public accurate information? What is the harm in that? You just literally went and told a newspaper, magazine, whatever, that's not true. So why can't you come out and do it in a public statement? And I swear, if I get come at with that, well, they got to keep that shit close to the vest. Well, he just didn't. He just did not do that. Pay attention. Not y'all, of course. I don't know, Dolphin. That's a good question. They're probably not called Bubba in California. Cali's like, Bubba, fuck that. I don't even know. I don't want to offend anybody without. I got a brother we call Bubba, so I'm not offending nobody out here in the South. It's just you Bubba. Kind of like the Murdaughs calling each other Bo. Come on, Bo. Down here in my end of the South, it's Bubba. So I don't know what they are out in Cali. Big T or some shit. I don't know. I just know those rappers from the 80s. That's all I know about. I was a headbanging chick. God, I was such a headbanger. I didn't listen to anything else. The rest was crap. It's not headbanging, it's crap. Get away from me. And keep that Tipper Gore lady as far away from me as you can possibly keep her. She's strange. She says I play my music backwards and I worship a devil or some shit. Never thought of playing my record backwards till she said it was a thing, and I'm like, what? So I tried it, and I'm like, what is she talking about? Because I didn't hear what she said was being said. I made my mama listen. My mom watched all that with me on Congress, all the hearings. And my mom was floored at what she was seeing Tipper Gore do. Go, mama. You was a good mama. She freedom of speech all the way. And then my mama fell in love with the lead singer from Motley Crue. She thought he was the prettiest little thing on earth. I was like, ew. No, mama. I just didn't like blondes. That was all there was to it. So then the next report we have really is going to wrap it up because there's a gag order slapped on this shit now. What y'all ever heard of a security hold like I have on people, but on documents? What is security invokes a certain thought in your head, right? Security means to secure, to protect. We know what gag order means. That shit in Idaho where you seal all them documents and we can't see nothing, even after the fact. Is it because of the messiness of social media, or is it because it's lack of police investigation, or is it because of lack of evidence? Is it the police thinking that they are sitting on some kind of high mighty platform and don't have to say shit unless they feel like it to a local people? Don't tell me there's not a big ol' ass office somewhere there in LA where the person who, people who work for people go to every day, sources and all, friendships are formed and all, boots on the ground. Something happens here today, I got 5 reporters I can call and try to get the goods from. Is that my source now? Hmm. Okay, so security hold placed. Let's see. Cops are like, we don't like this. Y'all are saying we didn't do something. It's like, well, did you? Shit. TMZ apparently had to tell y'all that little girl you just found was a missing girl. Is that what this is all about? They want their clout. They want their pat on the back for discovering that that missing child in a frunk was actually the dead child was missing child Celeste Rivas. Missing, not missing, missing. Poor kids in this country today just growing up in all kinds of conditions that we are just so unaware of that shapes their entire life. And we wonder why people like Ann Taylor want to come in with mitigation. And why is that person's childhood so important? He's a grown ass man that just unalived 4 people for no good fucking reason. But we're going to talk about his childhood. What do? The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner on Monday spoke out against the practice of placing security holds on cases, including the investigation into the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Oh, sorry, my phone was in my way and I couldn't see. If y'all had just seen what I did with my head, I almost got stuck. My neck's been acting up lately. My muscles are all tight. I'm like, don't stick on me, neck. That would be uncomfortable. All right. Cause a muscle spasm or some stupid shit. The singer David is considered a suspect in the probe of the teenage girl's death, a source told Eyewitness News. On Friday, the Department of Medical Examiner received a court order initiated by the LAPD to place a security hold on the teenager's case. What in the world? Rachel, I've never heard of security hold either. Just non-dissemination order, right? Which is normally reserved for court documents. But they're trying to shut down the medical examiner's office over here with a security hold. Security for what? National security? Are we in danger? Should we activate the guard or whatever? I mean, God, I don't want to sound the alarm, but I live around a bunch of military bases. Should I be concerned? I live around one of the largest ones in the world. I feel real safe, but then again, I don't. I could be a sitting fucking duck because of where I happen to live. Don't think that wasn't a thing during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I was just a little girl, and they had their sights set on Northwest Florida because of our military capabilities. And you know how far I am from Cuba? Not far at all for a missile to travel. It was a whole ass thing. Okay. So, yeah, I think about stuff like that. Don't be causing me panic and concern here. Hey, I put out a statement. They triggered me. They triggered my anxieties and PTSD with their word salad. The hold means that no records or details associated with the case, including the cause and manner of death and the medical examiner's report, can be released until the hold is lifted. When they going to lift that hold? After an arrest? How do y'all do docs out in California? Was it like pulling fucking teeth like in Kentucky? Or are we going to get a nice little packaged up website like Idaho? I got to give them that. Got to give them that. The mission of the Department of Medical Examiner is to have full transparency with the community by providing information about our cases to empower people to make changes that save lives, Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Odi Ukpo said in a statement. Since becoming the department head, I've worked on eradicating the practice of placing security holds. Oh, on medical examiner Kate. Did the politics enter the building like I said earlier? Dr. Ukpo. Maybe I need to look into some local articles and such. What's going on here? Since becoming the department head, I've worked on eradicating the practice of placing security holds on medical examiner cases simply by law enforcement request. They've already doing the tango over there. The practice of security holds is virtually unheard of in other counties. Really? Throughout California? It's not a common practice in other counties. How many times has LA County asked for that? To the point where he's had to go and say, hey, hold up, brakes. We may have another story brewing here. That's the kind of conversations I'm here for. Hmm. It's going to make me want to go outside with my coffee later and go down a whole ass rabbit hole. Good Lord. We are dedicated to serving our community with full transparency. However, the law precludes us from doing so while the court order remains in this case. What transparency they want to get out? Frozen, not frozen? Decapitation, not? According to the statement, the Department of Medical Examiner previously received a request for a security hold from the LAPD on the Celeste case back in September 15th. We're fucking November here. The end of November, turns out. I know, so y'all know how I am. This month, like, literally was went, like, to me, November, I was like, it was just November 1st. Like, yesterday, I thought, apparently, it's been a couple weeks. Time don't matter to me. It sounds like somebody's trying to hide shit, Carrie. We don't like that, do we? Don't cause us to look at you sideways. And we won't. It's as simple as that. Don't come out here with this conspiracy theory stuff. We're honestly trying not to be. But when you make us look sideways, we're going to do that because we're not going to be sheep. You go, okay. Just going okay gets us into trouble. According to the statement, the Department of Medical Examiner previously received that request back in September, which was denied due to insufficient justification to warrant the hold. So who made the decision on that, and who just made the decision to give them the hold? What changed? Oh, did y'all go in this time and say, well, social media is doing this? Because that's becoming the norm in these cases, if y'all are paying attention. Starting in Delphi, the judge signs off on sending Rick Allen to prison within 3 days of arrest, and then recuses himself because the public bloodlust. I'm sorry, you arrested that man 3 days ago after 5 years, and the public's like, oh, can we ask a few questions, like, press conference style? And you're like, bloodlust, I gotta recuse myself. That was our first red flag. Something was amiss. You're a sitting judge and you got scared because the police arrested the bad guy and the public asked some questions. According to the statement, the Department of the Medical Examiner previously received a request for the hold and they got it. And then, so who's giving them the hold now? That was the whole point. By law, what would determine a hold would be given once requested? Did the DA's office get the hold? It says it was requested by the LAPD, that the police department is the one requesting the security hold to the medical examiner's office. And it's so much so that this medical examiner says it's a problem in their county, in Los Angeles County, that they constantly do this apparently. And he's like, no, enough's enough. We need transparency. This is coming down to the coroner and the LAPD. Prosecutors being tight-lipped, they're not even going to get involved till the LAPD makes a fucking arrest. You got to go to the prosecutor and say, here's what we have. Do you got enough to prosecute this guy? Prosecutor's going to say, that ain't enough, man. You got to get me more, or hell yes, we're going to court. then you get your arrest warrant from your judge. That's how this works. I don't know nothing about the legal system out in LA because I honestly, that's a place I don't look at a lot. I know LA from the 70s and the 80s and what went down in there in the 90s and beyond. I'm good. I just know that that's not a place I'll go live. And that's not nothing political about it. It's just from my observations. If I had a choice anywhere in the United States of America, that'd be the last place. And personally, I don't want to fall off the earth in an earthquake. I'll deal with hurricanes. I think of the dumb shit. Mm-mm. I don't want to be the one to go like that. I know hurricanes are coming. There's a difference. People say, how can you live in hurricane country? I know it's coming. Days, sometimes a week in advance. Tornado, fire, earthquake, not so much. So pick your poison, people. I'll roll with the hurricanes. Good to go. All right. Any information, any tips or leads, whatever, call the LAPD. How about how many people have they investigated? Well, now we have heard reports from media sources tell them David's been named as a suspect, along with another unnamed person that Mark Garagos claims he knows the person. Fisher claims he knows the person moving the Tesla. Y'all two need to get together. Is it the same motherfucker? Is it the same dude? I don't need a name. I just need an arrest. Simi, what'd you do? You sent him into a food zone. I'll join y'all. What are y'all talking about? Oh, cheesecake. Are y'all talking about what you're gonna make for Thanksgiving? Lord, see, I'm not a huge person on sweets. Occasionally, I'll want something sweet, but it's always usually the same things. And guess what? It's been I love me a Krispy Kreme donut. And if yours doesn't taste really super close to Krispy Kreme, I want nothing to do with it. Nothing. So there is a store right here at the corner at my sister's, and I like to walk. And so I started walking up there, and I noticed they had this little deli type thing in there, and I'm checking it out. Like, I'm so super picky, right? So I'm looking around, and I'm like, those donuts look pretty freaking good, actually. And I'm like, these are made fresh every morning, right? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all this. I'm like, damn. So I bought one chocolate, one regular glaze. And y'all, it was almost to the T like a Krispy Kreme. I was like, oh my God, I may not have wanted to discover that place. So I took a walk up there yesterday evening because I was a little bored in the back, needed to take a walk. It helps me stretch. Yeah, I went up there and got me a couple more donuts. And then bitches was good late last night. How many of you guys are cooking Thanksgiving dinner? Some of you may go away, some of you may not even do Thanksgiving. I could take it or leave it, honestly, but I do like to eat that type of food. So I'll cook it so I can eat it, but I'm not having a big thingy. Just me and my sister. Me and my sister. For many, many, many years when our kids were little, well, my one kid, because at that time I just had the one, she had couple boys. Anyway, on Thanksgiving, my son was with his dad and her boys were with their dad. That was the one holiday because I had two older kids, and I always like, your dads can have you on Thanksgiving, right? I just won't even, I'm an easy parent. So she and I spent many Thanksgivings together, just doing the adult thing. And then we haven't in a few years. So this year we're doing it. We're doing it up like we used to. We joked about this phase of life, and so now we're going to get in there and make us a turkey and eat. You staying home, Hawkeyes? Yeah. Kids are next door. I know that at least one of mine's coming by to eat. I think the other two are there going to their dad's house, as usual. All right, so we'll have to keep an eye on what happens over here. I don't think we're going to get anything else. We haven't gotten anything to start with except for a bunch of leaks, right? Or a bunch of sourced information. Um, Now, this order seems to apply to just the coroner's office because there's no court documents to look at yet. No one's been arrested. There's not an affidavit. There's nothing. There's some probably subpoenas for phone data and shit like that, but that's all you got. So who knows when we'll get anything or even a press conference out of these people. Until then, I'm sure that the TMZ of it all and whatever's will continue to report stuff as it comes down. But at some point, enough's enough for me anyway. My brain just can't take the frivolous conversation of it all. It's okay for a day or two if it's new and we're like, what the hell is this? Kind of like when we first heard about his music and the kind of stuff he did write about in that one Celeste song and the images. Fine. Now we understand what we're dealing with. I need to move on to the more serious parts of it. And that's where I always clamor for more that we never seem to get. Damn, it's annoying. And it seems like you're stuck with the drama of it all. And if we allow that to grow for what reason, I don't even know, that's when your victims start to get lost. So we'll see how it works out with their little stupid ass security hold. I can only be nice for a moment. All right. So yesterday we were talking about the Anna Kepner investigation, guys. And that's turning into some really bad family drama. And not like, oh my God, there's drama. Like really domestic issues were at hand in that case. And I can't recall the child's name a few months back. Well, I think it was last year, actually. She was an Asian child. Wasn't she reported missing? But it turns out it was staged by her dad and her. They were at odds with the mom. So the cops were talking to the mom privately, but the public wasn't aware. There was rumblings on social media. There was a YouTuber grabbing shit from Facebook. And I remember they were in the chat one day, or I was in a chat, or we were on somebody else's panel. I think that's what it was. And she's up there and she's talking about the family, family, family. And I was like, hold on a second, because I knew what she was talking about. And I said, are you relaying information you saw a family member post to Facebook? And she said, yes. I said, but you can't confirm what you just said is true. And she said, right. She had it asked backwards. Mom wasn't the aggressor in the situation. She was the one trying to save the kid from herself and from the dad. But the dad come out heavily handed against mom, which immediately turned social media against that mother. See, sometimes we have to be careful. What I just heard, and where'd that come from? And what is that person's motive even? And at this point, you have to ask, what are some people's motives? Especially when you start looking at certain cases and you go look at the players with a fucking YouTube channel. And look and see how many views they got on certain videos and stuff. I don't care, do you? That part of it's odd, right? And it's there has been a case where a few accounts popped up out of nowhere and I was like, what is this? Yeah. You can't help it sometimes. You have to be super careful. So this Anna Kepner case, it feels like there's a lot going on there, probably internally in that family. And it makes you feel really bad for all these kids. There's a lot of kids involved in this case. The dad had 3, mom has 2. Together you got 5. And there's reports coming out everywhere about this and that. The bio mom over here is already in a custody battle with her ex over her boys. Daddy over here raising his kids for what reasons. I mean, it's just there's a lot of family dynamics going on there. So I'm still at that. That put me right back to where I was. Is that kid telling everybody this is an accident? They know he did it. I'm not. There's almost no doubt. The cops know he did it. His mama knows he did it, and I think he told them he did it. Now, I could be completely wrong, and he's like, no, 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 I don't know what the hell happened. Last time I saw her, blah, blah, blah. And then this happens, and he loses his shit. Oh my God, she's gone. Is that why his mom put him in the hospital? It affected him so bad compared to the other siblings that he needed to go get hospitalized to be stabilized. I get it. I worried about my kids when they lost their sister. They were little preteens. So I'm just curious about why was he singled out to be hospitalized? Because I think he told them he did it. But did he say I did it on purpose? Right? Or it was an accident. We were clowning around. We were horsing around. I put the bar hold on her. Have the police come out and confirmed that? Because I've seen statements from the family describing what they did. Was that what the coroner told them? Because there was some bruising to the side of her neck. So I'm assuming that they were demonstrating to the family what that looked like. Because I think in one of the clips, they're demonstrating what they were told. Okay, so let me see. Let me get this pulled up. So what happened yesterday was during the live stream, Butterfly sent me the parents talking because they were on the cruise and her family. Hold on, my oh, here it comes. It was acting slow. It's always an accident when they get caught, Hawkeyes. So the question is, like in David's case, now in this case, how do you prove what happened in there? Accident versus intentional. Because they're going to get a separate charge for what they did to the body afterwards. But how did the body get in that state? What happened to that person? How do you prove that was not an accident? Now, if it was a strangulation from the front, right, and they could tell that she was strangled in that manner, that's not an accident. Two kids climbing around with a bar hold, is that boys do it all day long? Well, a lot of boys do. You got to break and tell them you're going to hurt each other. What you saw in wrestling last night, you literally cannot do to each other today, okay? All right, let me get this up. So, this boy apparently, though, we know has had issues in the past. And during that court hearing that the mom had to go to, well, she didn't have to go to it. They filed the dad filed, bio father filed that emergency hearing, try to get custody of the 9-year-old from the mom, because he agreed with mom to let the boy, the 16-year-old, leave the hospital facility and go into the care of one of her relatives. And like I explained yesterday, in Florida, we have the Baker Act. Because she's his biological mother, she can absolutely put a 3-day hold on her son in the state of Florida. And they will evaluate him, stabilize him, and release him. And I feel like that might be what they did, right? That was her quick, easy way to get him into a facility and avoid immediate arrest. It would have been on hold for 3 days at least. But they didn't even arrest him once he got released. So I kind of feel like that's what she ended up doing, because I know that's what you do in Florida. Um, then he goes to the parent, a relative's place, and dad signed off on that. The judge said that was fine, but they were there for that 9-year-old. So she set a hearing date to discuss that. And that's when the attorney for the dad said who he would call as witnesses. And he said he would call that 16-year-old boy. And the judge said, well, I want you to be aware you have to come through me to get to that 16-year-old boy. You better file a document stating such. And remember, anything he says. And I think in the end, that attorney for the dad thought better about calling the 16-year-old boy in that custody hearing. So that's all and I took all of that straight from that hearing, right? Because I really wanted to watch that hearing for myself, see what each parent judge actually said. Glean anything to do with this case. Uh, Parents were on the cruise, like I said, they're out there. What is going on? There is a photo out there. When I hit screen, nothing's happening. Hold on, guys. Let me. Oh. I don't know if you guys can even, if you can hear me. Apparently, my signal weak. There we go. I think I'm back. Okay. Yeah, they were put in the same room is the most bizarre thing, isn't it? Especially hearing what we're hearing. Can you guys see me and hear me again? Let me know. Okay, breaking up off and on. We'll give it a minute, Butterfly. I'm cutting in and out. Okay, I think it's clearing back up now, guys. We'll give it a second. Okay, Hawkeye says I'm back now. I can see myself again, so I think I'm back. I think I'm back. So the grandmother, I'll try to get it to play again. If it doesn't play, I did watch a little bit of it. So Anna's grandmother says that they were close, that her and the stepbrother were close and got along well. He had demons in the past. I was like, what? That is so contrary to what we were hearing, right? So what's really going on here? That's what brought me back to, they're gonna all say this was a fucking accident, including her daddy. That's my gut feeling about this. I don't know why that I even want to include him with that, because I don't know none of them like that. But just from what I've seen preliminarily, that's where I think is happening here. I'm like, wow, what does the FBI think though? What are their interviews with him looking like? Because they've interviewed that kid. We're never gonna see it. Maybe in 30 years or some shit, but not today. Not no FBI interview, especially with a minor. Well, yeah, we are hearing Hawkeyes that she was afraid of him. He intimidated her. He carried the big knife. He climbed on top of her in that one FaceTime call where her boyfriend saw it all happen. We have heard all of that. But this grandmother kind of comes off a little different, is what I'm saying. And she knows these people. So that's where I'm like, what? What do you mean? Okay, let me see if it'll share the screen now. Again, what we hear and what's reported versus what family members say, it's like, what in the hell is happening? Okay. We kept hearing the last thing, all I kept hearing was this girl didn't feel good and she went back to the room never to be seen again until found by the housekeeping under the bed. Grandma says she didn't feel well. She went to the room, then she got to feeling better and she came back down, got dressed and came back down to the casino. I'm gonna have to go with what Grandma just said. Call me crazy. One possibility they are considering. So, what do you mean by that? They're considering. So, is this bullshit? Because how the asphyxiation occurs important is so it's super fucking important. So, are we got a theory? Okay, if the death certificate's going to say on there what caused it, it may not describe how it occurred. The police reports will do that. If this girl was strangled full on from the front, there's no accidental bar hold here. So they think this is a possibility. Why do they think that? Was it common for him to do that to other kids in the house? Like, oh, that's just him playing? He did it all the time? That's what he must have done? Did they all just conclude that like that? I mean, So if she had no other bruises, no assault, nothing, just that, what happened? Was there an attempt to do that? And then what happened was a result? Would there be some evidence of her fighting back a little bit? I don't know, man. There's just that unanswered question. See your comment? Um, you don't see or hear me? Okay, hold on. What about now? Hold on. Okay, give it a second, guys. Okay, what about now? Check, check. Huh. Okay, you can hear me again now. You guys didn't see any of that because I was playing the piece with the grandma. Couldn't see or hear the clip. Okay, so let me hang on. Let me go grab that and drop the link to that in chat for those of you who didn't see it. Yeah, I was letting it play. Okay, yeah, I was letting it play for a minute. So that was the interview that the grandma did. I think it was with ABC News. Um, and she said that in the interview, she tells the interviewer there that he and Anna got along fine, they were close, and that he had battled demons in the past. So I'm like, what does all that even mean? You know what I mean, ma'am? Could you elaborate? Because one minute now he's fine and they get along well, but in the past he had demons. So is that why they were in a room together? Because y'all all felt he was fine now? Do you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. It don't make sense when it starts to happen, when the conflicting reports, the conflicting statements, and different things. When we're just trying to figure out what happened. Let me get that a link to that interview, and I'll drop it into the chat for you guys. Um, okay. There we go. There, it should be popping up now, but that'll be the link that you guys can go and watch that interview for yourselves. I don't know what's going on with this family dynamic. You know what I mean? From what I read, the bio mom to the boy and Anna's dad were like got together like a year ago. So I don't even know how long the two of them dated, how well Anna actually knew them as compared, because he had another ex-wife before her with the two little boys were her kids. So this guy's like, already got couple wives in already. He a few deep already. All right. I'm going to drop another link into chat for you guys because if you didn't see this, man, oh man, you got to go see it. But I do want to tell you about it. Remember when the story broke that Ashley Buzzard got arrested and was imprisoned somebody and all that? And then she goes and shows up for court for it. And then the judge finds that she didn't do anything wrong or whatever. Well, that guy's name was Tyler Brewer. He was a paralegal that knew Ashley Buzzard. So when her daughter went missing, I think he said had been going over there for about 5 days at that point. And I think it was, he said, the second day in, he went and saw her on, like, so her daughter goes missing. I guess she comes back home from her little road trip, whatever was going on there with her. So he goes over there one point in time, and talks to her. And then apparently he goes back a second time. But when he leaves the second time, he gets pulled over by the cops. Cops are like, look here, we got to talk. If she tells you anything, you need to let us know because she's not talking to anybody but you, kind of situation. Because people are wondering, was he a plant by the cops? All that drama tried to brew. So anyway, he gave an interview with Ashley Banfield, and it was on News Nation, and then I think she ended up doing it again over on her YouTube channel. And that's the one that I watched early this morning. And I'll go grab the link for that super quick. Let me pull that real quick. I'm afraid if I try to play it for you guys, we're just going to get all wonky, and it's just not worth it. It's this one here, Ashley Banfield. Yeah. It was crazy. I'm like, because you would think if he had anything to tell the police that really mattered to the case, they're going to tell him, please do not talk. Think about that for a moment. You could be a witness here. Please don't talk to media. And if you want to help protect the case this early on and she hadn't been arrested yet, you're probably not going to do all that. Well, this guy did. I don't know. Do we have another WSU Mom Kim on our hands, or do we have a legit guy who's just trying to help? So he says what he told the cops was what Ashley told him. Do y'all know what she told this man? Nothing. Remember, he says that she kept him with a box cutter, wouldn't let him leave, and all that. He said that she told him that she began to communicate with a couple that she met at a zoo. And she decided that her daughter would be better off living with this couple because they had a daughter and they could play with her daughter. And he said that she was due to have a outpatient surgery that is like a routine. He didn't elaborate. He said it was going to be a routine surgery that he himself has had. I was like, she's a woman, you're a man, y'all got same surgery. I don't know. But he said it was an outpatient deal, no big deal, whatever, you get on with life. But she told him that because of her upcoming surgery and she was going to need time to recover, she thought it was better to let her daughter go live with these people she met at the zoo who had a daughter. And they kept changing the meetup location. That's why she was booming all over the place. And then they finally made their location meetup, and she gave them her little girl. But she doesn't have a contact phone number for these people or a name. I guess she can't recall their face either. I don't guess the police got a sketch or. So if there's any validity, remember we heard early reports, or I saw the early reports when that first happened, that he had stated he wasn't so sure he could believe what she told him. And I was like, what kind of bizarre shit did she tell him? Right now it makes sense. Okay, that way, yeah, I wouldn't believe that crap either. Rachel, such a bizarre story, right? Do y'all believe that story? Because of her outpatient upcoming surgery and needing a month to recover, it was a better idea to send her child off with some strangers from the zoo. Apparently, Melanie, or I said Melanie because I know someone named Melanie. Melodee was 9 years old, and at one point, she'd already been taken from Ashley by DCF. I don't know why. That's what that man said. And then the child was returned back to her mother, I'm assuming because she has her. Also, he said that Ashley Buzzard has a grown daughter in her early 20s. And he put her first name out there, which I don't agree with, because she was taken from Ashley Buzzard when she was a child. But he felt it was okay to put her name out there, then apologized for doing it. Sorry, he said. Like, dude, you don't got to be so damn messy. If you want to come out and tell us what she told you, fine. But don't be messy in other ways. It's not very becoming. Now I just lost a little bit of fucking respect, right? Bringing that girl into this. Now people are going to try to be digging for her last name and looking her up and shit. Weird. Y'all have to go watch the interview because it's very. And tell me what you think about this guy in the comments after y'all watch that. Come back to this live and say, this guy was just, trying to get in there with her because whatever, his friendship with her, or he was really wanting to help, or. And I'm glad he got in there and he said, because he was able to look around the apartment, he was able to see things and relay that what he saw to cops. He was able to tell them what she told him. So I guess if she was going to talk to anybody, fine, get in there. Don't be messy. But he said, y'all remember there was video of her going out front her front yard and taking photos of Melodee off the posters that were out there, and people were saying she was cutting the face off her kids' missing posters, like defacing them. He said that's not true. He said what she did was take the photos off the posters. Then she goes in the house and she lines them all up on the couch like a memorial. And then he said there's a pillow. Ashley reported it to be a body pillow, but he corrected her, said it was a back pillow. Like my granny had that backrest type pillow, not a body pillow. I gotcha. So he said she put a hoodie belonging to Melodee on the damn pillow. and at one point had a pair of the child's sweatpants on there as well, on the couch with all the photos lined up. And he asked her why, I guess, and she said because she missed her daughter. That's And he said that her mental health issues apparently go back for years, and apparently he's known her for years because he said he knew the grown daughter when she was little, and she's in her early 20s. So he's been around Miss Ashley Buzzard for decades. And if she's been that mentally unstable all those years, it's really frightening. It's already scary to think about what she could have done with her daughter and that we just don't know. But learning more about her and her psyche and all that, it makes it even more and more troublesome, right? Me too, Jerry. Welcome in, by the way. You're a new name, so welcome in. I can't click on comments right now. My stuff's acting a fool. I watched it last night. I'm sure he was there and spoke with her. Yeah, but what she said, it doesn't make sense. Y'all, are you gonna go have surgery and leave your baby with a random that you met at the zoo until you get better? How many mothers have had to get up and do it every day, no matter what had happened yesterday? Goodness. And is he doing it for attention? That's where I want to get you guys' take on him. I'm on the fence with the guy right now. So when you get the interview and you guys digest it, let me know if you think, yeah, he's looking for 5 minutes, or may be really onto something. I don't know. Rachel says she needs more mental help. Yeah, it sounds like it, Rach. And it's like, who we had that a little, we touched on this conversation yesterday about the state of mental health. What, when is there an overhaul of that industry that needs to be looked at? You're coming up with a whole bunch of diagnosis and not enough remedies, solutions, therapies, whatever you want to call it. To take care of these problems. And then you got ones that have children in their custody, they should be getting a little more extra attention. And when they put up a wall and don't want that help, maybe y'all should be looking a little harder at that point. I'm not saying get intrusive and tell a person how to raise their babies, but sometimes we got to make extra sure those babies are okay because they counting on it. Because the one person left in charge to make sure might be the one doing the harm. And I, as a human, can't look away from that kind of stuff. That's the hardest thing on earth to look away from, is the idea planted in your mind that a child might be being harmed in some type of way. Even if you're at a park, at a grocery store, at a birthday party, and you hear a parent get onto their own kid, it may not be the way you do it, but that don't mean the way they're doing it's bad. It just means it's not the same way you do it. There's a difference between our differences in disciplining our child and in child abuse, right? You don't look at, I just can't look away at that shit. That's why I don't purposely seek out a child's case. One happens right in front of us, we're going to cover it, but it's not, I don't cover them on purpose. Like, I don't seek those out just to cover, because they're heavy and they're the hardest not to take to bed with you at night. Know that from experience now, and it's not cool. So hopefully we can get some answers eventually in the Celeste case and in the Anna Kepner case, because these victims deserve to find out what happened, and Melodee deserves to be found. And then we go back to that moral issue. What are we doing here, Lori Vallow style? I don't got to tell you where my kids are, and you can't do anything about it. You can't arrest me for it. All I got to do is say, I don't know where my child is, or I'm not going to tell you where I took my child. I'm going to shrug my shoulders and shut my door. What are you going to do about it? That is the biggest baffling thing to me that I cannot wrap my head around. You can't do that when they got a warrant at your door for shoplifting, or a warrant at your door because you got popped with a quarter bag the other day, or a warrant because you, whatever you did. Fuck. What that person in that house could be doing to that child could be 10 times worse than what the person next door just did. You served a no knock warrant for. But hey, that no knock warrant next door over some petty ass bullshit that turned out to be the wrong house was justified. Mm. Oh Lord, that could be a whole ass show, y'all. It could be a whole ass show. All right, y'all. What brought up our conversation about mental health yesterday was looking at the Morgan Geyser escape. Little Miss Thing decides I'm going to cut off my ankle monitor because I got it made over here without realizing it. I got myself all the way down to a halfway house until all I got to do is wear this monitor just for a little while longer. I'll be a free woman. Insert another human. Lord help us. What? I don't know, Rachel, why she hasn't been ordered to produce. Lori Vallow was eventually ordered by court to produce for kids. She was served while she was in Hawaii. I don't know why. What's the difference in the states, the laws? Is there a difference? I don't know. It's completely aggravating to the point where I want to make a bunch of noise and make a bunch of laws change about that because I don't think that's right. So you're telling me if my kid goes missing in an hour and I say nothing to nobody, somebody finally figures it out and they start asking me, and I'm like, I don't know where he went. Everybody's going to be good with that as far as cops go? Damn. That's why they don't look for missing kids too hard? Uh, is that what that means in the end? They're just kids. The most vulnerable people in our society are the children, and we're just going to be like, cool. I couldn't imagine not knowing where my baby was at. Sorry, just could not do it. Okay, so yeah, Morgan Geyser, Jerry. So I don't know if I can play it, guys, and I wanted to watch it with you. All right, so when Morgan cut the ankle monitor off and took off like she did, we had heard she was with this gentleman, and when they finally ended up capturing her. They got her at a Thornton's gas station over in were they in Chicago by then? I got the address of the place for some reason. I don't even know why I wrote that down if I had the name and the actual street address. But anyway, we have the raw footage also of that arrest. And what happened was one of the employees in the store called the police because there was two people asleep behind the store. So she calls the cops for assistance to get them to move on, right? Um, it looked like they just had one backpack with them. She was holding something, a bag or something in her hand. But he looked like he had she, transgendered, identifying as a woman, I think. So she had a backpack. Anyway, um, as she's packing up the backpack, the cops are talking to the other person, which is Miss Geyser here. And she gives them a fake name. She didn't want to give them her name at first. They're just talking, and finally she's like, okay, here's my name, and she gives them a phony name. And they come back and tell her, we know this is a phony name. And then the other person doesn't want to give up their name either. And they're talking to that, and that person's being super quiet, not saying a whole lot, all the things. They end up separating them, right? And at some point, they tell her, we're just going to take you in, and we're going to fingerprint you, and we're going to do all the things. So she's like, okay, look, I did something bad, but she didn't do anything. And she doesn't know what I did. And they're like, okay, you did something bad? And she's like, yes. She didn't tell them what she did yet. It was the craziest thing, guys. And to watch her interact with the police, I was keeping my, because we're hearing she has mental health issues and the schizophrenia and all the things. So I'm really watching her. I'm trying to gauge her now. What am I dealing with here? Personality type. Are we manic right now? Are we having an episode where, what are we doing? Are we being all manipulative and narcissistic psychopath today? I don't know what I got. So I'm trying to analyze it, right? And she's all like, I think when she gave them her actual name and birthday, it still didn't freaking come back. And she told the cop, well, when you fingerprint me, it's gonna pop up. It's gonna be me. And she still hadn't told them at that point what she fucking did. So I didn't watch the whole thing. I think I watched almost, actually, I think I did, but I got up and was doing something, so I got a little distracted. But they ended up taking them both in, and we have an article. They ended up questioning this woman, and from what I can gather, they met at a church, right? This church they attend. I guess once she got to the halfway house, she had some freedoms and she began to attend a church. And I guess this person went to the same church. That's where they met. And then she claims this person was sneaking over to the halfway house and climbing into her window. And she was afraid they weren't going to allow her to see this person. Turns out this is a 43-year-old man, technically. And because of that reason, they weren't going to allow her to see her. They bolted. Threw it all away for a person. Legit, got that fucking far, all the way down to a damn halfway house that you never should have been in to start with. And cut the ankle monitor off and dropped it there and took off with the woman that's been sneaking in your window. How long was she at that halfway house? How long had she known this individual? That's something I didn't look into yet. For real. She told the cop to Google her. Yeah, yes, Rachel. She damn sure did. Pokemon, they did not know. And of course, the fake name didn't come up a hit. And then they even tried to go back again and run her real name with her middle initial. That's when they were saying there was a breakdown. Because I'd heard early on there had been a breakdown in communication between that halfway house and the DOC. So I'm wondering, had she been technically reported at that point in time when those cops were standing there calling her ass in? What time did that halfway house notify Department of Corrections that she was unaccounted for and they found that ankle monitor? And how long had she been gone? We need an internal investigation as to, because guess what? There was a living victim in this case. The little girl she stabbed 19 times did not die in the attack. She's still alive to this day. Also in her early 20s now, 23. How fast did y'all notify her offender was on the loose? Did she get a Vine Alert update? And did it come in time to save her? Think about all the possibilities that could have went down. Because little miss, I'm all better now, is sneaking a transgender person. And no offense to that, I don't give a fuck what you are. Technically, you're a grown-ass man sneaking into a grown ass woman's bedroom at a halfway house and decided to cut off the ankle monitor and jump out a window, and they let that person go, y'all. What happened there? what what just happened? So what did I do with that article? Don't I have an article about that? It was the person. Um, Let me see if I have that article. I know where it was at. I know how to get it. I don't know how long this person had been a member of that church, how long they were in the area, or nothing about them yet. I did go look. Well, I didn't see any social media account for that person. Let's just put it that way. Like, I'm not giving up on my secrets. Jesus, do your own research. No, I'm kidding. Y'all know what I'm saying. Okay, where'd it go? If this is the article with his photo and a little bit about him. No, not it. You're like, no, not it. Oh, here we go. Yes, this is it. Okay, let me see. I should be able to do this without having an issue because it's not a video. It's just a. All right. Get this crap out of our way. Get out of here. I think I'm on a delay a little bit from you guys. I'm letting the phone version of me catch up with the PC version of me because I'm sharing my screen right now on the phone. I don't see it yet. There it goes. So let me know if you guys can see that and still hear me at the same time. Hey, Witchy, welcome in. Pokemon, glad you came in to hang with us. Real happy. Some of you, Carolina, those of you who just joined us. Jerry, thank you all for coming in. All guys, you know we love when you come in and hang out with us. I appreciate all you guys coming in and getting the case updates with us. What is this? No, we don't want none. Okay. Okay, yes on both, Butterfly, thank you. All right, Slenderman stabbing assailant. What we know about Chad Mecca, the man arrested with Morgan Geyser. So I'm not going to play the video because wonky stuff will happen. I'm going to get a picture. I'll go get an image in a moment. But that's the person hiding behind the play button. Geyser, one of two Waukesha teenagers sentenced in 2014 to the Slender Man stabbing, was arrested with a 43-year-old man she reportedly met at church, according to newly obtained arrest reports. Y'all should have put them arrest reports in this article for me. Would have been fabulous. Posen police first approached Geyser and Mecca for a welfare check after they were found sleeping behind Thornton's gas station on Western Avenue. They initially gave officers false names. When no information could be found for either name, officers asked again. This is watch what we know about Chad. Okay, hold on. Geyser told police that if she gave them her information, she would never be able to communicate with her friend again, and later told officers they could Google her name, Morgan Geyser, to find out who she was. And she made them promise her, when they were talking to her on the sidewalk there, that when she told them who she was and everything, the cop promised her they would let her say goodbye to this person, and they took her to the cop car instead. And she's like, well, you told me that I could say goodbye. He's like, don't worry, you're both going to the same place. Oh, okay, Jerry says allegedly speculating sent you. Well, thank you for coming in on her recommendation. I hope you like us enough to stick around. I know my mods and I, we go over there and we hang out in her chat from time to time as well. She's had some pretty good coverage going on over there, stuff with Summer Wells as well. I saw some good interviews she covered over there. I hadn't, because I'm like her, I didn't deep dive that case, so I'm kind of learning as I go. And she went over some interviews, like I think it was like last week, that were really good. So appreciate Appreciate you coming in and giving us a chance. Um, so she told them she was afraid they weren't going to let her see him again. Mecca eventually told officers his identification was in his backpack. So he had an ID the whole time. He's standing there like a little lost puppy. Because when I first started watching the video of the police talking to them behind the store, you couldn't see his face. You just saw this hoodie and a voice, and it appeared to me like a boyish figure, a young man versus a 43-year-old man. Right? I was a little shocked when I was like, that's the dude. In a police interview, Geyser said she met Mecca a couple of months earlier at Good Shepherd Church. How far is that from the halfway house? I haven't seen an address on this halfway house yet. I pay attention to stuff like that. I may not ever put it out publicly, but I'll be knowing. She told authorities the group home would not allow Mecca to visit her, so she would sneak her she would sneak in through her window to see her. Geyser admitted to the police that she cut off her ankle monitor with scissors and had discussed traveling to Nashville, Tennessee with Mecca. Were they going to be country music stars together? Fuck, I cut off my ankle monitor today. We hopped a freight train all the way down to New Orleans. I just threw that part in there because Janis Joplin came to mind. Now I want to sing the whole song. Sorry, I'll get sidetracked with music in a fucking heartbeat. I mean, I'll be off with Janis in a minute on stage. All right. Seriously, I'm about to do it. Walked to the south. Okay, so they ended up, when asked how they got to Posen, she said they took a Greyhound bus from Wisconsin to Chicago. All right. And then they walked to the south side and then took another bus over to Posen, where they ran out of money and stopped at the gas station. Mama and Daddy put the roots right here because this is where the car broke down. Yellow Dome school bus kicking up red dust. Okay, there I go again. So what did they think was going to happen when they did run out of money? For real? There was no plan once we jump out the window and take off or cut the monitor off? You know you got to get gone real quick once that monitor comes off. It's time to shit and get, right? How far did they think they were going to get? But they ran out of money in Chicago on the south side. What a place to run out of money on. Wow. These two were not good planners. Mecca was charged with criminal trespass and obstructing identification. He wasn't charged with assisting in an escape, or nothing. Yeah, you're not allowed to have visitors willy-nilly like that up in these halfway houses. They have very strict rules and guidelines you have to follow just to be in there. You're freaking lucky you're in that halfway house. There's probably women in that prison who deserve that spot. Or actually, was in prison. She was in the mental health facility. Got better over time to the point where they're like, cool, she can go to the halfway house. There was probably another girl in there that absolutely deserved that same opportunity who didn't get it because for some reason this girl got it. And then it was like, hold my beer. I'm going to have a guy come through or a person come through my window, then cut off my monitor and run all the way to a gas station on the south side of Chicago and call it a day. What in the world? For what? Jesus Christ. Put the girl back in the facility. There shouldn't even be a question about that. We have to make a decision now. Do we return her to the halfway house or back to the mental health facility to serve out her 25 to life sentence? I'm going to say go back to the facility where she continues to serve that 25 to life. Because we didn't even get close to that 25 before y'all pulled this bullshit right here and let her go. Geyser was processed on a nationwide extradition warrant. When did that nationwide alert go out for Bolo this? Bolo Slenderman killer. Or no, I'm sorry, attempted killer, because the victim's still alive. And they had to put eyes on her immediately when they realized, and I still need to know the time frame on that. I'm sure her attorney may be interested in that little tidbit. Have we learned nothing from Bob Mata? Jesus Christ. Lawyer, you know. What's the rest of them's names? It's hard to keep up these days. I don't even watch any of them anymore. It's rare. Emily D. Baker. She's funny. Lawyer Lee. She's like your sweet aunt. Your knowledgeable sweet aunt. All right, guys. So there you go. What's going on with this guy? Do y'all? He had to know. He knew what she was planning. Obviously, was he there at the time she cut it off? Did she cut it off and meet him down the street? How did it all go down? So let me grab the link and I'll drop it into the chat for you guys that shows the arrest. I think let me see, it's from a news station and it's like the entire thing. I wonder if they'll eventually file like a charge against this person for like aiding and abetting escape or whatever, something to do with the escape. Jeez. Okay, there's a link to an AB. I think it. Oh no, it's a local WKOW. I think it is a news link there locally in the area who got hold of the police body cam in its entirety. And then showed it. Oh, okay, you got to pick. The one, that link I just shared, real happy should be the same exact thing then that Enton showed. Shows the employee come out of the store is how this one begins, and meets with the officers. Well, it shows the officer driving up, of course, and then he gets out and she comes out and she talks to them about calling them or whatever. Then they approach Morgan and Chad Mecca. And she's all like, I don't want to tell you who I am. She's like, I did something bad. This craziest thing. It would be hard to believe that they would have gotten far to start with unless she really had a game plan. You know, somebody out there waiting with a very inconspicuous car, the wigs, the money, the whole 9 yards. Quick, get out of here. You know what I mean? They didn't even do that. They didn't even try. They just hopped a couple of buses and took a walk and ended up in a parking lot of a gas station with no plan. And that's really a good thing that it happened that way, because Peyton is her victim. I'm sure it doesn't feel good to get a phone call to find out the person who attacked you is now free and on the run, and we don't know where they are or what they're capable of doing, right? Can you think about the kind of fear that probably put in her parents all over again? Takes them right back to the day they got the phone call that your daughter was found. Can you meet us at the hospital? Ugh. Poor thing. So I'm so glad she survived it, and recovered, from her injuries. But that's what they allowed to happen in this case. And the reason it was allowed to happen, let's be honest, is because they were minors. They were 12-year-old girls. What do we do with 12-year-old killers as a society? How does your state handle child killers? Have you ever had one that you know of in your state? Have you ever paid attention to it, right? It's so rare. It's happened in Florida. We've had it a couple times. We had a high profile case happen right here in this county. Our local reporter ended up doing an amazing book on it. The King brothers. There's actually people who know what I'm talking about when I say that case. Some don't, most people don't, but I have ran across people who know exactly what I talk about when I say the King brothers from Pensacola, Florida, and what they were accused of doing to their own father. Brandon ate a lot, what he did to his mother. Local story, big case. What level of rehabilitation do you give to a child killer? And how do you evaluate one that you determines okay now, but maybe wasn't okay, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago? What changed in that year that got them from point A to point B? Should we examine that part of it? Call it sentencing guidelines and da 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 da, but what's happening in between that? From the time they're sentenced to that release date, what goes on in between? That should be our focus, because that's what we're told the justice system is for. Rehabilitate these criminals and blah 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 blah. You get it. What's going on in between sentencing date and release date across the board, adult prisons and youth across the nation? You can't fix some of this evil, Jet. Some people are just need to be, and it's not. If you want to be honest about mental health, if she really was diagnosed with during the trial or right before her trial, they diagnosed her with having childhood schizophrenia at 12 years old. They're diagnosing Brian Koberger and Ann Taylor's documents with adult issues that she says are undiagnosed childhood issues. Okay, Ann was around back then? Or she just talked to some people who said he acted some kind of way. And I heard that, Butterfly. There was a lady, uh hey, wait a second. Wait a minute. I think I did see a piece of that intent, because that may be where I saw that. For some reason, this image just ran in my brain of this lady, and I know he was sitting there talking to her. Is that the interview you're talking about, Butterfly? Is that where you saw that? So there was a lady that apparently wrote a book about Morgan Geyser. And so I'm sitting there listening to that part, right, with morning coffee. And because I'm willing to evaluate and listen and then figure out how I really feel about that. So she's trying to, it sounded like to me she was trying to excuse away everything this girl had ever done. Diagnosis wise. Because this, and because of this, and because of this. And none of this came out until this happened. Okay, that's becoming the norm anymore, but okay, it's getting harder to figure out if that's real or some bullshit y'all put in their heads, but okay. California style, I'm not going to say more. So anyway, now she's saying Morgan's on the autism spectrum and things like that, and then she needed to insert kind of like me. I'm like, oh boy, now I got to see it through your eyes or don't see it at all. Mm. So if that's all true, what are we doing about it? Again, what's happening between sentencing date and release date? Especially the ones you're sticking in these mental health care facilities that you're sending down to step down programs later to release into society. I got a problem with all that. I don't got a problem with opening that door and letting them walk out. Honest to God, I do not. But I need to know what happened in between. So what are you turning out here? Y'all don't expect me to raise my babies and unleash all that onto society at 18, do you? Not without some home training and such. So don't come at me like that, because I'm gonna come right back with you. You won't you expect me to fucking do it? No, writing a book does not make you a psych expert, right? And when you're gonna develop a thought, I guess, about your subject, but your thought and your opinion should be just that, unless you're writing that type of book. Leaning into an innocent type or an innocent this is why type, what I mean, you know what I mean? Pack your feelings, okay, but also leave them at home sometimes. That what happened to me as a child and what I'm diagnosed with comes at mitigation. Still, once mitigation happens, we're going to have a sentencing date and we're going to have a release date if they're lucky. So I'm saying that's where the conversation should be, in my opinion. And I don't know how to quite get there with. I mean, I do. There is somebody I talked to a while back. I sent an email, and she did agree to come on the show, but it would have to be after September, which now we are after September. So I think, and we're coming up on the holidays though, and everybody has the family things and all the holiday things. So I'm going to reach back out and try to set this up for the beginning of the year. And I want to talk to somebody who's been in prison and been released. And it's not like I don't know how to say this nicely, a shady ass YouTube character. It's it's somebody worth listening to. Um, in fact, she's actually been over there and talked to I almost said, yeah, oh, Nate Eaton. Sometimes I'll say Brian Enton, but I get you, Nate Eaton, Brian Enton, whatever. Their names are, to me, they're, in my brain, their names are too similar. I don't know why. I go East Idaho News and then I got Brian. That's how I figured them two out. But she's been on his show before. But anyway, just to talk about what happens kind of in prison and if it can be beneficial or not. I want to look at that, because we talk a lot about lifers, the death penalty of it all. They're never going to see the light of day. They're just going to be there and they're going to die there, and we're like, cool, whatever. But a lot of these people get an early release. They're not 25 years. Do you know how much time a person will do on a 25-year sentence? They're not going to do 25 years. 25 to life. What does that even mean? We'll let you out in 25 years, maybe, but you could possibly be in there all your life. It really up to you in between that. How do they get there to that point when it's up for parole? Are they going to get released or not? And then what are we going to get once they're released? All of that, I just think it's interesting enough to take a look at and have somebody on that's experienced it that we can have a conversation around that, Um, there's a lot of discussions that could be had, actually. So we'll try to unpack some of that starting next year and bring some new conversations to the table. Almost that's kind of the angle, not because we're always going to cover true crime and, of course, the high profile cases. We're not going to change a thing, but I want to add to what we're doing. So I'm kicking around ideas for the upcoming year to try to grow what we're doing here. So I appreciate all you guys coming along for the ride, helping me grow, watching me grow, stumbling with me, putting up with me, putting up with the hot mess express over here from time to time, my shitty internet when it happens. Y'all know me not doing clocks and calendars. Y'all don't seem to mind, and I found my tribe, and I appreciate that. Y'all don't care that I don't care. I love that. But we'll keep an eye on the cases, guys. I kind of went through the Wandra docket a little this morning with my coffee, like, and there's really just uneventful documents right this minute. But I really, so if somebody in chat, y'all help me out. He went to jail in Arizona. He was in there on gun charges, right? Weapons charges. When they went and looked for what's her name, he was there or something. What's her name? His wife. Is that how that went down? I got to look into that because I'm trying to figure out when he was sentenced on that, right? Because they're looking in those subpoenas to the federal subpoenas. They had certain dates. They're looking for communication from those. There's two different facilities. Both facilities are in Arizona. There's two different ones, so I'm assuming he was at two different facilities in Arizona. Um, but I need to hone in on the dates that he was in these facilities compared to the dates they're looking for in these subpoenas. And I wonder who he was communicating with while he was incarcerated there in Arizona, right? Was it the wife, friends? Who knows? You think you saw new documents out in the Morphew case? Probably so. We have the docket butterfly pinned. I haven't took a look in a hot minute. Honestly, usually I'll catch them posted on X by our buddy MB, and then that's when I'm like, oh, okay, we got new docs, and I'll go look because I'm not used to looking every morning for Barry. Barry got on my nerves with all his "don't look at me" stuff. Like, fine, I won't, dude, until it's time to go to trial. That is not even close to being the right thing. What happened? Hmm. Uh-oh. I forgot that if I do this from Discord, it ain't going to do it right. Okay. I'll look at those and see what we got, and we can take a look at those in the morning, go over them. What? Florence has a big prison in Arizona. Okay. Okay, thank you, Rach. Oh, Butterfly, you're right. Plunder, was it that in Plunder's Patreon? Where she dumped a document dump in there with a bunch of photos, and she said there was images of text messages. I think we read those messages in the court documents we've already went through, but I didn't go look at the PDF yet to even see what she has. But I do recall seeing my notification this morning that Plunder did drop something over on, I think it was on her Patreon. You know how she does. But I haven't went and looked, honestly. I haven't looked at anybody's Patreon in so long, and if I do, it's going to be hers. I don't even think I'm subscribed to anybody else's. I don't have a reason to be. Hers, well, you know why, for obvious reasons. She gets us the goods. Okay. You don't see any new docs. Okay, thanks, Pokemon. That's right, because I know you're staying on top of that as well. Oh, I took some more peeks at the baby. I forgot I forgot I could see pictures. I was like, oh man. So I went and I was like, oh. But yeah, I know you're staying on top of that as well. And stupid JLR, when he streamed it that one day. You know, I streamed that one hearing, and somebody came in like, "Oh, you're gonna get shut down. You better shut down." Like, well, they didn't clarify yet. When they do, we won't. And then they come out and said, "Okay, we mean it this time. Y'all can't do that." I'm like, "Okay, I won't do it again." So nobody got in trouble. And then JLR streamed that next hearing. And we're like, damn, dude, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? They're already sitting on that go button with us as it is, right? Give them a reason to press that button and they're shutting us out. Thanks a lot. Surprise bullhorn went next to you with your bullhorn screaming, why did you do it, Barry? You can hear him screaming, why did you do it, Koberger? Why did you do it, Richard Allen? Why did you do it, JLR? What thing are you talking about? Well, I don't know. Fuck, you're in the Guinness Book of World Records. You tell me which one it was. Fuck. He's got me blocked, so fuck him. He can't hear me. Not unless somebody goes and tells him, and like, I'm not chicken. I'm a native Floridian. We'll roll, Bubba. See, you're not native. There's a difference. Ooh, I did go there. Anyway, we got to keep on all the things, guys. Yeah, well, you do dislike him lots, but you got a, like that area connection, and God knows what. I don't even know. I need to have a conversation with you about the case. You need to let me know if you're ever willing to come on and talk about one of these cases with me, Pokemon. But you guys go watch some of those links that I did drop because it's not going to let me share them. I guess earlier it was fine, and then it seems like it lets me do that for a little bit, and then it's like, no, you're done. Enough's enough already. So I'm going to go and get a few things done. That way I have a easy couple of days, so I can get there and cook a little meal in a couple of days and do all the things. But y'all know what I say about these streets. Be safe out there. Lord, wear your caution vest. Watch out for the red flags. Take everything with a big ass grain of salt. And I mean everything, including me. Especially me. All right, y'all go have a good one. And I'll see you guys back here probably tomorrow. See you later.
Thank you all for watching this here video.